Ryan here for Silly Reviews with a kind of wacky review here. It's kind of wacky. This is a review of Lake Castle Private School. It's in New Orleans East, Louisiana, located at 8400 Haynes Boulevard. I had no idea that this school was still open, and they actually have multiple locations on in New Orleans and on the North Shore in Slidell, and I believe in Covington, Louisiana. I attended this school back in the 80s, okay? Your boy Ryan from Silly Reviews, he's an old head. I attended this school in grades 3 and 4. So a little bit of background is my elementary school experience was in New Orleans East, Louisiana. It was at Sherwood Forest Elementary School. I was the white kid. I believe I remember having like a white chick or two in my grades and my classes. But as far as being like the white boy, I was the only one there. And I'll tell you this, first grade, second grade, great. My second grade teacher was Mrs. Montgomery. Man, I hope she's still around. I hope she's doing well. I have memories from being that young where that lady was just amazing. Then my dad pulled me out of the public school, which I was doing well at, brought me into a private school, Lake Castle. And it was not a good experience. My first experience there was for summer camp, and I had never experienced before being put down and embarrassed by privileged kids who had everything better that I didn't have. They had Nikes and Converse and whatever were, I remember things like that. Like they had nice shoes and I had, Attack Force and things from Payless. I could not excel or exceed at this school because I was picked on from the jump. As soon as these kids figured out that, I had a single mom, they probably didn't realize things like I was on, our family was on food stamps and government assistance while my mom was going through college and things like that. They picked up on it. Their radar was spot on, and they gave me such a hard time. So I'm going to give you some memories from my experience in 3rd and 4th grade in the 1980s at Lake Castle School in New Orleans. So things started off in 3rd grade. In 3rd grade, I believe my teacher's name was Miss Rock or Mrs. Rockwell. I had such a hard time in that classroom. I felt bullied by the students and the teacher. Again, I am certain her name was Miss Rockwell. And this was the year 1987. 1987 or 1988. 3rd grade. And I got bullied and picked on constantly. There was no hope of winning at anything. Extracurricular activities, schoolwork, anything. This was also the year when I and my mom found out that I was colorblind. I can remember one of the first negative experiences was during, fun time, busy time, extracurricular time, whatever. There was hey, draw something. I drew a dog and I painted that dog in with my ink pen that had broken, and I took the little tube out and I filled in my drawn dog with the ink from the pen. Now, I was basically like verbally attacked by my teacher. She made it clear to me, and again, I'm like 8 years old. She made it clear to me that she thought I had mental problems. She was asking me, why did I make a bloody dog? I had no idea I made a bloody dog. Apparently my pen that I was using, that I used the ink from the tube to color in the dog, was red. I didn't know that. But the conclusion that she jumped to was I was a crazy person. I remember multiple instances like this where I wasn't a behavioral problem child or anything. I just had a hard time adapting, assimilating with this type of, culture. And it was brought to the attention of my mom that, I'm a crazy person who filled in a blood red dog. And it wasn't until a year or a year and a half later when we saw an optometrist and went through a colorblind test and found out that I was colorblind. Well, there was the answer to it. Man, this school had corporal punishment. I was forced to do the chair position, which is as a little kid crying, getting threatened by administration. You would have to put your back against the wall, squat down, hold your hands out, and hold that position for I don't know how many minutes. As a little kid, it felt like a really long time, but you would be crying and you'd be scared. And that's just the beginning of constant torture for about 2 years. Like I said, from 3rd grade and 4th grade. There was what was called the 5K race. We were near a highway with a levee system. And basically there was a 5K race. I don't know what that equates to miles, 3.5 miles, something like that. And I attended that event and did really well. I had a really good time. And I was like, I was a winner. I was going to get some type of reward, a medal, something like that for finishing this 5K race among my age group or my grade class, doing really well. But that following Monday, I think I was sick. I didn't arrive till Tuesday. When I came to school on Tuesday, people were telling me about who won the awards and who did well in the race. I found out that I was not awarded a medal or anything like that because the other kids decided to tell the teachers or administration that Ryan cheated. Wow. I cheated at a 5K race. Unbelievable. It was terrible. So that was 3rd grade. I attended summer camp. Let me tell you a summer camp story. I can't remember exactly why this happened, but there was a moment in summer camp when somebody who was a part of the custodial team, he whipped me with a broom. I shit you not. So I'm like an 8-year-old kid, not 9 yet, I don't believe. The custodian in front of like the head, whatever the guy's name, man, there was a guy there named Volcano or something like that. And I don't know what I did to piss this grown man off. And I wasn't a bad kid. He hit me with a broom or a mop handle. And I remember crying my eyes out. And that's just the way it was, man. Like, do shit, get hit, but I don't know if I did anything wrong. I just remember getting hit with a broom or a mop handle when I was a little kid. Sad. So let's go to 4th grade. Now, 4th grade gets even weirder. I remember the teacher that I had for 4th grade was an attractive young lady. So check this out. There was a behavioral tree for the class. If you spoke out of turn, if you did anything to disrupt the classroom, anything like that, you started off the day, every day, at the top of the tree, okay? If you messed up, you would move down the tree, okay? You'd move down. I believe at the end of most days, you had an opportunity to move up the tree if you did some punish work or something to redeem yourself a little bit. If you were a little boy in the 4th grade, and you finished that day at the top of the behavioral tree, you know what you could do? You could either have a piece of candy like a blow pop, or you could kiss the teacher on her cheek. Now that is fucking weird, is it not? Here's another wonderful story from that year. So I had a lot of hard times getting picked on by the other kids. And one time there was an instance where I was in the bathroom, just, making a pee. And one of the kids started, I can't remember what he told me, but he started messing with me. And then he started to pee on me. This kid started to pee on my leg, okay? And I probably freaked out. I don't know, man. I was sensitive then, so I might have started crying something. Went back to the classroom, didn't say anything about anything. Later on in that day, I get called up by the disciplinarian. Not a good time, because that's usually where you have to assume that chair position. They call your parents. They tell your parents bad things, whatever. That kid told the teacher who told the disciplinarian that I was cursing at him That's what I can remember. I was cursing at him in the bathroom, which is not the story at all. That disciplinarian hit me in my face, made me assume the chair position for I don't know how long, called my dad. My dad shows up in the middle of the school day. My dad hits me. Wow. And more things I can remember is, so this is a private school. My dad was paying X amount of money. I know right now, and you've seen in the little video clips here, that people pay around $4,000, maybe more, who knows, to go to, have their kids go to this school. But they used to treat my mom like my mom was a piece of shit. They used to have my mom come in for conferences about my quote-unquote behavioral problems. They used to hound my mom about why isn't she married? Why doesn't she find a man? Things like that. That's things I found out from my mom later on down the years when I could understand that. Holy shit, what a terrible school. Racism. Again, I told you I grew up in an all-black school until I reached Lake Castle. I'd never experienced racism. I was the white boy. Being around, black people was normal. And they used to, like in silence, because there used to always be a handful of non-white kids there. They dropped N-bombs like I'd never heard that before. I probably might have heard that from maybe my dad, sometimes when he was frustrated, but I'd never heard it more than from the faculty of Lake Castle. And just everything about it, any experience with teachers, faculty, whatever, was always scary and uncomfortable and confusing. Just a terrible place. I can also remember that everything about that school was, like, every building or unit was a satellite. So it wasn't like a nice building with clean, air-conditioned facilities. It was nothing but trailers. Just trash. Nothing like the nice public school that I went to. Man, I hated that place. I went there for 3 summer camps, 2 years of school. I never experienced a worse surrounding or environment from the kids that I went to school with to the teachers and faculty ever. So I'm telling you that was from the late 80s. So have things changed, over the past 30 years? Who knows? But I would never, ever pay or even for free send my children to that type of environment, because what I've researched is those last names, man, whoever's in charge, they still look the same. So fuck that school. Fuck all those negative memories. Fuck Lake Castle. I'm Ryan. For Silly Reviews, I appreciate you watching. If you happen to catch this from Google and you attended this school, leave a comment. Share your experience there, your children's experiences there. Am I right? Am I wrong? Are my memories cloudy? Let me know. But I hated it. That was a shit school and a shit environment.